Hi, welcome back. We are discussing some highly underrated makeup today. Now, I guess I shouldn't say highly, but a lot of these I feel like just deserve a little bit more love out into the universe. We're going to be exploring things that I've talked about for years, some things that I may have just discovered this year. Some of these I feel like I owe my life to, I owe my early 20s to. They're just things that have stuck with me. So, yeah, let's go ahead and start. The Carmela Soprano vibes are on point today. This is not a joke. I told Will the other day that once we had a boy and girl cat together, like in the future, because I am going to start a pretty hefty animal collection when we have a little bit more land. But I wanted a boy and girl cat so I could name them Tony and Carmela. Tony and Carmela Soprano. Speaking of underrated, I'm going to pop a little bit of my Laneige glowy lip balm on. This is the peach one. My favorite is the grapefruit. I have all of these. I have all of these now. I think they are phenomenal. I keep one in my car. Great little lip product to touch up with. Gives you a little bit of color, but it's also a lip balm. So not intended really to be in this, but just a little plug. We're going to kick this off with a foundation. This is truly, in my opinion, one of the most long-wearing foundations on the market. I myself have neglected it the past several months, but I was wearing it a lot in the summertime because it just lasts through heat, lasts through everything. Once it's on, it stays on, and it's the bareMinerals Bare Pro Liquid. Really did not know what to think about this when it first came out. I was just perplexed on the formula. And once I kind of just got the hang of it, truly it is a wonderful foundation this is one that I would say is a great formula for all skin types. And I was just talking about this in a comment with a subscriber the other day, how a lot of brands are using that phrase in their foundations now, like for all skin types, when truly it's skewed more towards like an oily skin or even more towards like a hydrating foundation. But this is truly like a formula that I think could work for all skin types. So I'm going to just apply, I'm going to press this in. I really like applying this best with a beauty blender or a sponge. This is embarrassing, I've lost all of my sponges. I don't know where they're at. It could have something to do with the fact that I have a cat and it's easily knocked off of a desk. I'm thinking that's what could have happened because I don't really know. I only had two. I had two Flower Beauty sponges. They're gone. I don't know where they're at. This is also a very buildable foundation. You can wear it very sheer or you can wear it pretty full coverage. I mean, it can get intense on the coverage. I like to do about 1 pump to 1.5. I generally don't go over. Today I'm going to do probably about a half pump more. But I think it just sits on the skin really nicely. And then once it has sat, like it's on there. Look at that. I love it. If you are a viewer of my channel and you just feel like you're not a MAC face and body type of person, you're not a Neutrogena skin tint, Glossier skin tint person, and you need something that has a bit more coverage to it and that also is just super universal, this is a good one. I think this formula is awesome. I think bareMinerals, especially throughout the past several years, have been discontinuing a lot of their products. They've been trying a lot of new things and they're just not working and they're being discontinued. And I hope that this is not going to happen because this really is a good secret formula that I feel like not a lot of people have caught on to. This is something I have yet to talk about, but I knew damn good and well when I saw it on the website that it was going to be a winner for me because it combines one of my favorite concealer formulas in one of my favorite application forms. And that is this. It's not new. I've seen this out for probably quite a few months now, but I never really purchased it because I was like, I just don't need any more concealers. Finally broke down and I am loving it. It's the MAC Studio Fix Perfecting Stick concealer. Now, I don't know if this is 100% marketed as a concealer or more of like a foundation touch-up stick. I use it as a concealer. Studio Fix concealer from MAC has been one that I have adored for a very, very, very long time. It's what I use in my Pro Kit. It's what I've had in my Pro Kit for years. And I think, again, it's a very universal formula. But this stick form, I genuinely believe that if you want to make something 10 times better than the original, just put it in a good stick formula. It's portable, travel friendly, easy to apply, and I just love a good stick product. So this is basically the Studio Fix formula, just in a stick form. And I have to say, it's very nice and lightweight. It's velvety. Again, I don't really like to go in and directly apply, especially if I have a more full coverage foundation on like this. Now, don't get me wrong, this looks awesome by itself. Like if I don't have a base on and I just want to go in and do some like quick touch-ups, this is a great product for that. But as far as using it on top of other products, I prefer to, you know, go with my traditional method of application, which is just applying to my back hand and then just tapping it in with a nice little brush. I will say, if you are used to the original Studio Fix concealer, this stick formula does seem to have a little bit less coverage to it. I would say it's more on the light medium coverage side, whereas the original Studio Fix concealer was definitely more of a medium coverage, but it sits so well. It's nice and velvety, again, very versatile. I think this would work for a lot of skin types. A little goes a long way. So I just got a little bit on. You can see I'm a little bit brighter on this side. Not too overwhelming though. Two bronzers to discuss, one cream and one powder, or one liquid and one powder. Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand. You know, I feel like if you're a Charlotte Tilbury loyalist, or if you even remotely use a few Charlotte Tilbury products, you probably know that this is one that's talked about in the Charlotte Tilbury community. But I feel like outside of that, just not many people are willing, number one, I understand, to spend the money on such a small product. I think this is $38. But I've had this, I mean, I've had this for the good part of this entire year. Granted, I do reserve it a lot for special occasions, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful product. I say this all the time. If you are new to contouring or new to liquid or cream bronzers, this is a phenomenal place to start. The way that I like to apply it is on the back of my hand. Again, I don't like, I mean, sometimes I'll directly dot it on my skin, but generally I like to get it on the back of my hand. And then I'll just take a little brush here. This one is not even made for cream products. It's a Sigma contour brush, but I just like to blend it out first and then just kind of tap into the skin. And it is such a nice sheer product, but it gives you the shading that you want in a contour product, and also a little bit of color. So I'm just a huge fan. Okay, you all know what's coming for blushes, but I will probably preach these until they do reach the status that I feel they deserve. And it's the Daniel Sandler Watercolours liquid blushes. They are truly the best blush formula, personally, I have ever tried. They last so well on the skin. The colors are so pretty. I'm going to mix two colors today. I'm going to mix one of my favorites, which is Caress, with Pop, which is a little bit more of a pinky tone. I wouldn't generally wear this by itself, but I haven't worn it yet, and I've been wanting to give it a shot. So I'm going to do just a little tiny drop of Pop on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to mix in Caress. I'm going to show you how to apply these, because a lot of you, I get messages and you're kind of confused. You don't really understand how to apply them. Let me explain what you have to do. So what a lot of people will do is they'll get a drop on the back of their hand, and then they'll just take their brush and they'll stamp their brush in it, and then they'll just try to apply it. That's not how it is to be done. You have to almost blend this fully into the back of the hand, like so. until you feel that it's almost dry. And then you want to go in and really lightly stipple onto the skin. So the reason you do this is because, I mean, with any liquid product, if you just go and you press a very emulsified or liquefied product into the skin, it's going to not only remove and disturb your base, it's just going to jack up your whole makeup. So just make sure that you have almost completely blended this into the back of your hand, and then you will start a layering process. So this has completely dried up, and I'm just going to repeat that process. I'm going to do one tiny drop of my color on the back of my hand, and then I'm simply just going to take my brush, blend that out. You literally can barely see it, and then tap. And you're just going to layer until you're happy with the color payoff. And once these are on, they're on. I find that they last so well compared to any of my other cream blushes, any of my powder blushes. I just find that these always stay on so well. So yeah, if you bought one of these because of my video and you just still are unsure how to apply, this is how you do it. This is, in my opinion, one of the only ways that truthfully you can really get the full effect, the lasting power, and the color payoff. I'm simply over here living my best life with this makeup. I mean, this is just, I'm looking in the mirror and I just love the way it looks. So let's move on. Let's move on to a little bit of powder. Truthfully, with my bareMinerals Bare Pro, it does dry pretty matte, which is shocking because I don't generally go for a matte formula. It doesn't dry down so much that it looks super, super flat, but it is dry on my skin. Generally, I don't have to powder, but I will add a little bit for the sake of mentioning this powder. And it's one that I discovered probably 4 or 5 months ago. It's the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r powder. Everyone talks about the Pro Filt'r foundation, but I rarely hear people talking about the powder, and it is a good one. Again, it's a little bit more on the matte side, but it is so smoothing that if you just take the smallest amount, it just really has this nice blurring effect to it. I can really appreciate that about it, and I'm just shocked overall that I have been such a fan of it because I kind of just bought it on a whim, thought to myself, it's probably going to be a little bit more suited for the combination oily skin, which again, it would work perfectly well for. But actually with a lot of my really glowy products that just, you know, are a little too glowy, this is a nice like counterbalance. You know what I mean? Like it counters out the glowiness. And because it is such a blurring powder, it smooths the skin, but it still allows a little bit of the glow to come through. Let's move into another MAC product. This is a very old Holy Grail product from MAC that artists have been using for years. It's the cream color base, specifically in the shade Hush. This was, I think, one of the first MAC products that I bought, other than Face and Body. I really think Face and Body was my first ever MAC purchase. And then not too long after that, I bought this because of Pixie Woos. And to this day, again, it's a staple in my, not only my kit, but in my own collection. And I just love, number one, how versatile it is. The cream color bases, you can use them in many different ways. You can use them on the face, the eyes. You can use them to kind of pop the lips. But I just appreciate that they're a cream formula, number one, but number two, that they really blend into the skin nicely and they don't overwhelm the face. It's not like a disco ball, you know, coming off your cheeks. It gives that nice subtle glow, not hard to apply. And I find that it lasts really well on the skin. Anytime I do someone's makeup and I finish off with this product, just tapping a little bit on the high points, it really just sets the makeup off, but in not an overwhelming fashion. So you gotta love it. I don't really feel like I have a super underrated product for brows because there's so many brow products out there right now, and I feel like everybody has probably tried at least one form of a certain brow product, but I will mention the Urban Decay Brow Blade, which is a dual-sided brow product. It has a pencil on one side, a really skinny pencil, and then on the other it's got the nice little felt tip applicator that has become so popular this year. Glossier Brow Flick is a good example. The Ardell makes one that has a similar tip to it. And I just find that this one is a little bit more convenient than the Glossier one. I like the Glossier one. Also, the shade selection is a little bit better in this. But if you're really wanting to get like that precise brow stroke look, this is a good product because that little ink felt tip marker on the end allows you to actually draw in strokes to your brows. So this is a good one. It's my favorite out of, you know, the swarm of brow products. Okay, I've got you a little bit closer to talk about eyes. Everyone knows that I'm a complete stan for a cream eyeshadow. I would rather F around with a cream eyeshadow than an eyeshadow palette any day of the week. I don't have like any revolutionary or revelation products when it comes to the eyes, but I do want to talk about these two together. One is, of course, my Laura Mercier Caviar stick, which I use in every single video. It is a staple of mine, and I think that, I mean, still, even though they're popular products, I think that they should just be utilized more. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. I'm just applying Caramel Caviar Stick, which is a nice light warm brown to my eyes. But then over the top of it, I'm going to apply this product that Allie Glines introduced me to. She actually sent me this. And I think this brand is so cool, and I myself have not explored more of their products, but the brand and the product is Bodyography, and these are their pressed pigments. They're the glitter pigments. This one is in the shade Sparkler. It is a stunner, people. She sent this to me months ago, and I'm so careful about applying it because it really is if you want the most intense, like gorgeous sparkle, these pressed pigments are amazing. I'm going to take just a little bit more of my caramel. I want a little bit more of a brown hue going on underneath. Okay, I've got my nice brown base going on, and I'm literally just going to take my finger, just pick up like one little dash of this, and it is amazing. Like, how freaking gorgeous is this? You just immediately have this glazed eye look. It's gorgeous. These come in a ton of colors. Trust me, it's next on my list to invest in because they're just so easy to apply, and they look great on top of the Caviar sticks. Okay, I don't really have an eyeliner to talk about. I'm just not the gal to go to for eyeliner because I rarely use it, but I am going to apply a little bit of brown liner. This is Urban Decay Whiskey, and I'm just going to tight line with it. Covergirl Exhibitionist mascara. I love it. It's just one that I have repurchased all year, and it's so basic looking, but I think it just has a lovely, soft, but dramatic effect. I'm going to use my NYX Beige lip liner. This, to me, is like one of the most universal colors for a light to medium skin tone, once you do go past more into like the tan, deep, dark family, this isn't necessarily going to be a flattering shade, but overall, the NYX Slim Lip Pencils, there's a ton of shades in this line, and I think that truthfully, there's a shade for every single skin tone. This just happens to be the one that I think is the most universal for my color family. But take a good dive into those. They're super cheap. I've been using the shade Beige for years, and I love it. It goes with everything. Persona lip glosses, Persona Cosmetics lip glosses, they are so incredibly comfortable. They have this gorgeous sheen to them, a very wet looking gloss, but they aren't sticky. They glide on super smooth. They come in some really unique colors. My favorite is the peach gloss. I think it's such a gorgeous color. I've always been a fan of Sona. I've watched her since her first video on YouTube. So yeah, big supporter of the Persona brand. I love especially this lip gloss formula. I almost forgot to talk about the Heat Wave bronzer from Flower Beauty. That was the second bronzer when I mentioned I had two to talk about. Powder wise, this one is awesome. Again, very neutral color family. Comes in, I think, 2 shades. Looks very weird in the pan. It looks very gray, but once you apply it, it's actually just a very neutral bronzer shade, and definitely my favorite that I've come across at the drugstore. All right, so those were some of my most underrated products. Let me know what your most underrated products are down below that you think deserve a little bit more love. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of these in action. Definitely check these out if anything appealed to you. I promise you I would not have mentioned them if they weren't standout products to me. And I hope you enjoy the look overall, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.